Have you ever wondered how viewing porn might be impacting your brain? It's not a question we ask ourselves every day, but maybe we should. We're curious creatures, aren't we? We question, we probe, and we explore. So why not explore how our habits, including the consumption of pornography, may be influencing the complex wiring in our heads? How is this seemingly private act shaping our brain's structure and function? It's time to delve into the world of neuroscience to answer this intriguing question. Science has started to shed light on this once taboo topic. Our understanding of how pornography impacts the brain has advanced in leaps and bounds over the past few years, thanks to the relentless pursuit of knowledge by neuroscientists across the globe. Let's start with a concept called neuroplasticity, a fascinating phenomenon. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to adapt and change throughout a person's lifetime. It's the process that allows us to learn new skills, adapt to our surroundings, and even recover from brain injuries. Amazing, isn't it? But here's the thing. This same process of neuroplasticity can also be influenced by the consumption of pornography. When a person views explicit content, it triggers the release of a neurotransmitter known as dopamine. Dopamine, often referred to as the feel-good hormone, is responsible for creating feelings of pleasure and reward. It's the same chemical that's released when we eat our favorite food, win a game, or fall in love. However, when it comes to pornography, the dopamine hit can be significantly more potent. This is where the problem starts. With frequent exposure to explicit content, the brain starts to adapt to these high levels of dopamine. It's like turning up the volume on a stereo. Over time, your brain needs more and more stimulation to achieve the same level of pleasure. This can lead to a cycle of overconsumption as the brain seeks out more potent, more novel, and sometimes more extreme forms of pornography to satisfy its craving for dopamine. And here's the kicker. This constant craving and overconsumption can lead to changes in the brain. Studies have shown that frequent porn users can develop an increased sensitivity to pornographic cues, a decreased sensitivity to normal rewards, and even structural changes in brain regions associated with reward sensitivity and impulse control. This isn't to say that all consumption of pornography is harmful. Like many things in life, it's about balance and moderation. But it's essential to acknowledge that overconsumption can have significant implications on our brain's structure and function. So porn, like many other stimuli, can cause significant changes in our brain. One of the key players in this scenario is a neurotransmitter you've likely heard of, dopamine. Dopamine is often referred to as the pleasure chemical of the brain, and for good reason. It's responsible for that warm, rewarding feeling we get when we eat our favorite food, score a goal in a soccer match, or accomplish a challenging task. Now, let's talk about how this relates to the consumption of porn. When you view pornographic material, your brain is bombarded with novel, exciting, and stimulating images. This triggers a significant release of dopamine into your system, creating a rush of pleasure and reward. But here's the catch. This dopamine surge doesn't just make you feel good in the moment, it also starts to alter the wiring of your brain. The brain begins to associate this intense pleasure rush with the consumption of porn, creating a powerful feedback loop. Each time you engage with porn, it reinforces this connection, strengthening the neural pathways that lead to this behavior. And as these pathways get stronger and stronger, something else happens. The brain starts to become desensitized to the dopamine overload. It's a bit like turning up the volume on your headphones. At first it sounds incredibly loud, but over time your ears adjust and it starts to seem normal. The same thing happens with the brain and dopamine. You need more and more of the stimulus, in this case porn, to achieve the same level of pleasure. This is how addiction can develop. But it's not just about addiction. This desensitization process can also have other consequences. It can lead to difficulties in finding pleasure in everyday activities, a reduced ability to focus, and even issues with sexual performance. Over time, this dopamine rush can lead to a cycle of addiction, needing more and more to achieve the same level of pleasure. It's a powerful, complex process, and one that we're only beginning to fully understand. But understanding it is the first step in learning how to navigate it. But the effects of porn don't stop at the brain's chemistry. Indeed, the influence of porn extends into our interpersonal relationships and how we perceive ourselves. Consider for a moment the unrealistic expectations it fosters. Porn often presents an enhanced version of reality, with idealized bodies and exaggerated performances. This distortion can lead to skewed perceptions of what real intimacy and physical connection should look like. It's like expecting every meal to be a 5-course feast prepared by a Michelin-starred chef. When reality doesn't match up, disappointment and dissatisfaction can set in. This dissatisfaction can manifest in our relationships in various ways. Some may find their partner less attractive compared to the idealized figures they see in porn. Others might expect their partner to behave or perform in ways that mirror what they've seen on screen. This is akin to expecting your partner to morph into a Hollywood movie star simply because you've seen one in a film. The result? Decreased satisfaction in real-life relationships. And then there's the impact on self-perception. Regular consumption of porn can make individuals feel inadequate or insecure about their own bodies and sexual performance. It's like constantly comparing yourself to an airbrushed model in a glossy magazine. The constant comparison can take a toll on one's mental health, leading to anxiety, depression, or feelings of worthlessness. It's also worth noting that while porn can provide an easy escape from stress or loneliness, it's a temporary fix at best. It's like applying a Band-Aid on a wound that needs stitches. Over time, the wound deepens and the Band-Aid becomes less effective. In essence, the effects of porn can be likened to a ripple in a pond. It starts at the center, our brains, and extends outwards, affecting our relationships and how we view ourselves. It's a profound impact that goes beyond the immediate pleasure it provides. The effects of porn extend beyond our brain and can seep into our everyday lives. It's a subtle invasion, one that we may not even be aware of, but with lasting consequences. Fortunately, our brains are resilient and have the ability to recover. That's right, your brain, the most complex organ in your body, has a remarkable ability to bounce back. This is thanks to a process called neuroplasticity. So, what's neuroplasticity? Well, it's the brain's way of adapting to new experiences, learning new things, and yes, even recovering from harmful habits. It's the brain's very own way of saying, hey, I can change too. Think of your brain as a city with a multitude of roads. These roads are like the neural pathways in your brain. Over time, as we engage in certain behaviors, we are essentially driving down the same road over and over. This can lead to a kind of traffic jam in the brain where these well-worn paths become the default routes. Now, when it comes to porn, these repeated viewings can create neural highways which can make it harder to break away from the habit. But here's the good news. Just as a city can build new roads, your brain can also create new pathways. When you abstain from porn, you give your brain a chance to reroute, to build new, healthier paths. Of course, this isn't an overnight process. It takes time and patience. It's like constructing a new road. There might be obstacles and setbacks, but with persistence, the path becomes clearer and easier to travel. But remember, there's no shame in seeking professional help along this journey. Just as a city planner would consult with experts when building new roads, you too might need guidance in your path towards recovery. Therapists, psychologists, and support groups can provide invaluable assistance, offering strategies and tools to help you navigate this process. So, let's remember, while the effects of porn on the brain can be significant, there's always a path towards recovery and healthier habits. Your brain is resilient, and with time, patience, and perhaps a little help, you can rewire your neural pathways for a brighter, healthier future. So, what's the takeaway from all this scientific exploration? It's clear that porn has a tangible effect on our brains, stimulating the dopamine system in ways that can alter our relationships and self-perception. But remember, the brain is a resilient organ. It can recover and rewire itself with time and effort. Knowledge is power, and understanding the impact of porn on the brain is the first step towards making informed decisions about our consumption habits.